Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of John the PM podcast, where we believe that managing projects is not just a job, but a way of life. I'm your host, John McLothian, and if you're tuning in for the very first time, I'm thrilled to have you here. For those of you who know me from my YouTube channel, John the PM, it's great to have you join me on this journey. Managing projects is a subject that has not only transformed my career, but also enriched my personal life in countless ways. So I'm excited to share my insights, experiences, and some valuable tools and techniques that can supercharge your journey. In today's episode, what I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss is calendaring. So you may ask, how did you get to this subject? Why did this come up? Well, in my line of work, what we do is basically classes, consulting, and coaching. And literally, I coach all over the world, on those pieces, and help out organizations as they're doing their transformations or delivering their projects or their training requirements, so whatever it may be, in that regards. So I do a fair bit amount of individual as well as a group sessions on those areas. For the last few sessions, some of my folks, uh, they've been challenged, and the reason why they've been challenged was because they just have a lot of work to do, on those pieces, and that could be quite difficult, on those areas. What do I do first, second, third, fourth? How do you prioritize? But what also kind of hurts quite a bit actually is when you finish the day or the week, you kind of wonder, where did all the time go? And then secondly, did I actually get anything done? So, there's a lot of intrinsic issues that can go on in that regards. I like to offer three tips. Okay. I got them written right down here, but the first one is live as a project manager. Project manager, that should be a lifestyle. That's what we kind of emphasize. That's what I truly believe in. But basically, take all of your work, take all of your activities, all your taskings, whatever you want to call it, and put them into buckets. What do I mean by buckets? Essentially, projects. Small, big, large, medium size, whatever may be the case. Okay, all in those areas. So if you have a group of work that's tied to a certain deliverable, that's the project, tie it together and treat it as such. And during that piece, you'll actually go through the processes of, whether it's agile or traditional, and create a plan for it, on those areas so that you can actually deliver it. So that's probably the first step is actually put all of your work into little miniature projects. If for nothing else, to kind of keep your own mind sane, in that regards. And this way you can also track how well you're doing or not doing, and therefore you're able to keep up with the effectiveness of how you are delivering, the various activities that you are responsible for. The second thing I like for you to think about, okay, second tip, is to divide your work into two parts. One is the prep stage and then the delivery. Sometimes I'll call it the on stage and backstage work. On stage work is just like being an actor when you are literally on stage. Backstage work is, again, you're like an actor, but you are preparing for the on stage. So a lot of us have meetings and things of that nature. I'm just like everybody else. That really is my on stage. That's when you're like going to be like in front of people delivering something. You know what? It can actually be the proposal or the work, whatever the artifact is. That consider that you're on stage. So you want to put those times on your calendar, but then you also want to have an appropriate amount of backstage work that is scheduled for it, on those areas. And then what that also helps you to do is to look at your day. Okay, if you're at work or whatever, but let's keep it on the work side. And during the day, you might have some on stage time. So for me, and just talking to me personally, maybe that's 10 to 2 or 9 to 3. And then my backstage time is going to be before that, 7 to 9, or after that, 3 to 5, on those areas, or whatever the appropriate hours are. This way, it kind of makes sure that I actually have enough time to actually prepare so that I can do my onstage work at the very best that I can deliver, and I can be at my best on those areas. So that's the second tip. So again, the first tip is put all your work into projects. Treat your life as projects. That is what we do. We manage projects. We are project managers. We lead the projects, whatever term you want to use, project manager, project leader. But just think of your life as a series and as an accumulation of projects. And then the second is to think about your day in terms of front stage and backstage. A third tip I like to offer you is to define what role you are on each project. What do I mean by that? I'm going to use an example, a Boy Scout example. As most people know, I do a lot work with Boy Scouts, on those areas. The key point that I want to drive here is when I go into a meeting, like at Scouts, I tell people the role that I am playing at that particular meeting. So I may go to a scouting meeting, and let's say for this meeting, I'm assuming the role as vice president of operations or vice president for district operations, so that people know what my train of thought is and what I'm thinking. I could be at a completely different meeting, and let's say that my role is a territory lead for diversity efforts. And I tell people that this is the role that I'm playing for this meeting. Same person, but different role. Or if, quite frankly, I'm just there to help, in other words, lift packages like at a local food drive or something of that nature. I tell people that I am just here to, be a pair of hands and tell me what to do. And I go and do it. And it helps them to know how to relate back to me, but it helps me to know how to relate back to them. Let's take this in the corporate world. Let's take this in the agile setting. Agile, the methodology. Okay. So in an agile environment, and if you're deploying the processes, it is very possible for you to be on several different teams, but on each team, you may have a different role. On one particular team, you may be a team lead. On another team, you may be a part of the development. On another team, you may be the product owner. And again, whenever I get to a meeting and something of that nature, again, same person, I would just simply tell them what role I am playing at that point in time. And this just, again, helps them to know how to relate to you and how you to relate back to them and help keep everything organized. Again, organize back to that very first tip, the project. And then you schedule, and then you have your role definition. This is just a real quick interruption here. I know that you're enjoying yourself on that fascinating show with the world of managing projects, but just wanted to let you know that we do have books on sale, and this particular one is called The Project Manager's Quick Start Guide. I think it is an outstanding read. Why? Because, well, I wrote it. But on a serious note, it is really meant for those who are brand new in the world of managing projects, or let's say that you're mentoring a young individual, a young go-getter, and they have the very, very first project and you want to set them up for success. This is the book for you. Down in the description notes, you can go ahead and order at your will. Thank you. Have an awesome day. Now, the calendaring piece is really important for one major reason I want to emphasize today, and that is sustainability. And what I mean by sustainability is that you have to be able to organize your time so that you can last the journey. In today's world, sometimes we get caught up in sprints, which is an agile term, but it kind of means, you're doing something like really fast. And so all you're doing is just sprinting. But the problem is that you have to have enough bandwidth in order to last the journey for a while, on those areas. one of the principles is, maintain a sustainable pace, on those areas. And that's what the calendaring really helps. If you don't get control of your calendar, the calendar will control you. And that's unfortunate. So you have to get back into control. One last thing, and I'll just end it after this, but just one last thing. I would look at your calendar not just on a daily basis, but really on a weekly basis. Now, this is the bonus section because I did not intend to mention this piece. But every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I will sit down at my kitchen table, and you can ask my family. I do this quite religiously, and I look at the previous week in totality, and I'll plot out my three big areas that I want to work on, in those on those pieces, and I will schedule it again by project, up front stage, backstage work, and roles. Now, here's the beauty. That following Saturday or Sunday, I do a review of what has happened. And I essentially do a lessons learned, a retrospective, introspective, or whatever term we're going to use. But basically, kind of do a quick review and ask, what did I actually accomplish? Now, hopefully, I accomplished the three things that I said I was going to accomplish at the beginning of the week. If I did, awesome. But I may ask myself, what led me to my success in delivering those areas? If I didn't, no, don't get too, worried or anything. The world's not going to end. But what or, it shouldn't end. But nevertheless, I may go back and ask, why did I not accomplish those three things? And there could be some legitimate reasons. In either case, I will take those learnings and deploy them into the next week and kind of keep that cycle going. That is just awesome. Some people may ask, why three? It's kind of a random number, actually. But I find that if I have like 10 things, then you don't really do any of them very well. If I only have one thing, well, maybe I didn't push myself, hard enough. So three works for me. But just kind of, pick a number that kind of works for you, on those areas. Do they have to be like the big thing? No, no, no. A lot of times, what it is that those activities, one of those three, is to lead into a larger, okay, area. So again, that's me. On another talk, I'll kind of give a little bit more detail as to what I'm kind of thinking about when I'm talking about my weekly planning. All right, so just to kind of summarize all of this, three tips, in order to help get control of your calendar. The first one, look at your life in terms of projects. The second one is look in terms of on stage, backstage. Third one is role definition. Well, that is awesome. And in closing, if you're looking for more information on how to become a great project manager, don't forget to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to John the PM. Thank you and have an awesome day.